Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to the Q4 2024 to Now showcase for AutogenAI. So this session is all about what we've been building in the product, what the latest features are, and what is coming up next. And I'm lucky enough to be joined by Bonnie. Bonnie is also in our customer success team. She works as an onboarding specialist alongside myself, and she's going to be here to answer any questions that you might have. If you do have questions, feel free to post them in the chat, and we'll get to them as we go, or we'll also have time at the end of the session if you have any more detailed questions to go through. So as I said, there's been a lot of updates, a lot of changes in the platform, a lot of great additions based on your feedback. To start us off, I might just jump straight into it. So the first thing that we've changed is this new navigation in the extract functionality. So just to remind everyone, extract is designed to take your RFT documents and perform certain extractions to get key pieces of information from those documents. And this one's been around for a couple of months now, so you probably are familiar with it. But essentially, this new change in the navigation allows you to see all of your extraction options on the right-hand side at one time, so you know what you're working with. The other key addition that we've made as well is just that you're now able to upload documents from your document library. So in the past, if you had an RFT document, you would have to put it directly into the extract functionality, whereas now it might make more sense to extract documents that you currently have in your library. So just to demonstrate this functionality to those who haven't seen, I've got this page open here. This is obviously the platform, and I'm on this extract tool here. As you can see, I've got these three different tabs: the file upload, which you know and love, uploading your RFT documents directly, the paste text, where you can paste the text directly from your document. But the last one here that you may not have noticed is this library tab. So you can see I'm in my library now. I might have this RFT folder in here, but you can also use this to extract other documents as well. And I've just ticked this one document here. So you can see if I uncheck that, it disappears, or the right-hand side becomes opaque. But if I tick it, then you can see it comes back. This just allows me to select up to 20 documents on the left-hand side to perform these extractions. So for instance, from this point, I don't know what this RFT document is. So maybe I just want a quick half-page summary. What you'll see is there's this new pane that comes up, which shows the history of all of your previous extractions. And it's got quite a long period of time that it goes back to. So this is one that I did just before we jumped on this session. And this is just a summary of this document to 2 pages in this case. So this is in my document library. I've summarized it to 2 pages, and then I can now use this content as I wish, whether that's passing it on to someone else in the business who needs oversight on this new opportunity, or whether that's something that you do internally within your own team. You now have this basically instant 2-page summary that you can then use. Likewise for this bid decision information. So just as a reminder, I was clicking this critical bid decision information here. I can go to my history and see where that content is popping up here. And it's going to give me an overview of the key things I need to be aware of when I'm making a go or no-go decision for this particular RFT. So that's the first of our exciting updates. The second, if we jump over here, there have been a couple of other improvements along the navigation and search within the platform, and we're really excited for this. This is based on direct feedback about just being able to access your documents as easily as possible. So what do we have here? We've got the global search. So this allows you to do a search across all of your documents, whether it's documents in your library or documents in your drafts or projects, as well as other content such as the answer bank, which we'll discuss a little bit later. It all comes up in this global search. So I'll demonstrate that in just a second, alongside this second one on the right-hand side. So this ability to now preview your documents. Previously, you would have to download these documents directly and then navigate to that downloaded document. But now we've made that a much more streamlined experience where you can just click on your document within the document library, and it'll pop up with the related content there. That just allows you to get a bit more context on the document if you're picking from a certain part when you're using the research assistant. Beautiful. The other thing that we've updated is the project navigation down on the bottom left here. So the projects is getting a bit of an overhaul where we're going to make it much easier for you to be able to access your projects and filter them down in a way that you need. So from here, as you can see, and it's coming soon, we're going to have this list view for responses, a bit more of a structured organization within the projects themselves, and also the extract functionality embedded within the project. That's coming very soon, and I'll discuss that a little bit later on. The last change as well on this slide is the markdown in the research assistant. So this one's been around for a couple of months now, but previously the research assistant outputs would just look a little bit condensed, look a little bit cramped. Whereas now we've updated it so that all of the outputs that we're getting from the research assistant are in this markdown format, which essentially means that we're able to create these lists that are much more easy to follow alongside the sources. So as a bit of a demonstration, if we go to one of these tabs I've got open, this little search bar you might have noticed pop up. This is our global search. So for example, I've got this document in my library, this little org chart. So let's say I want to find this org chart. I can type something like org chart. And this will show me all of the references to my org chart across my library and also the drafts and projects as well. So you can see here, it's found this document in my document library, but there are also a couple of other places where it's picked out a reference to the org chart. For now, if I then click on this, it's going to take me directly to my library where I've got the org chart document uploaded. As a reminder, you can upload JPEG files, PNGs as well. That's something we mentioned in the previous quarterly wrap up. But you can see at the top now, we now have a few more options for what we can do with this document. One of the things, as I mentioned, is this ability to now preview. So if I have a JPEG file or any file, I can click preview and it pops up with something that looks a little bit like this. So what do we have here? We have the org charts. This is the actual picture. This is just a default org chart, a random one that I found online. And it also has the content down the bottom there as well. So you'll see this applies for any document that you want to click on in the library. So for example, if I go to that RFT that we just did the extraction on, it'll give me, when it loads, it'll give me the ability to, or maybe it didn't. That's funky. So this is the RFT document that I just extracted before. If I double click on that or press the preview button, this is essentially a preview of the entire document, this RFT document, condensed down for readability. Beautiful. So I'll quickly on the project navigation as well. So you can see here, if I go to my projects on the left-hand side, I now have a much more complete ability to filter and sort these projects. So at the moment I'm filtering for all of the projects that I'm currently writing, but you can also have the projects that you've won, lost, archived, sort by the date, or by particular members as well. So that's an improvement on the previous project space. And Markdown we can see as well on the right-hand side. Beautiful. Excellent. So a couple of other minor updates that I know some of you have been asking for as well, and we're very excited to be able to deliver them. We've got this floating inline menu, which essentially allows you to use the toolbar that you know and love at the top of your editor window in inline. So you can see here, it gives you the ability to transform and make those stylistic edits while you're writing. The next one, so the versioning control, this is obviously a massive update as well. if you go into any one of your documents, this document here, for example, on the top right-hand side, I can just zoom in. You can see we've got write, gamma review, and versions. Obviously, this document doesn't have any versions because it's blank, but this will then come up with all of your previous iterations of that one document. An extension of that will be that whenever you delete a document, so let's say I delete this demonstration document, I'll actually be able to pick that up in our recycle bin down here. So deleting documents doesn't mean they're gone forever. It just means they've gone here. So I can then revert this demonstration and it allows me to restore this draft. Takes me there to my drafts. So that's for those out there who may have accidentally deleted some of their content, which I've definitely done as well before. So I love this feature. The last thing on this page is this expand remembering. Whoops. So basically all that's saying is whenever you're using expand, currently the default is to tick the creative AI and the library, and whatever the target word count would generally be for the amount of words that you've selected. But this actually remembers that selection for you. So if I deselect creative, it's going to remember the next time I'm using expand that I generally like to use the library AI, for example. Just saves you having to uncheck and check that content every time you're using that button. Excellent. So as I said, a few minor updates. They're little things that will hopefully just help your editing experience just work a little bit faster and in a bit more of a robust way. But for the pièce de résistance, we've got the gold source database, our answer bank. So the answer bank has been released at some point, I think it was last Thursday for all of our customers. This is quite a major release that we've put out. The idea behind the answer bank is that it's going to house your standard words, your key facts, your key statistics that you generally want to use when you're responding to a tender, and specifically to those kind of pre-qualification style questionnaires. So if I go through, you can see here we've got the Q&A workbook. So the answer bank works in conjunction with your Q&A workbooks to quickly answer the questions that you need to respond to in an automated fashion. And it gives you the sources for those as well. Excellent. Okay. Whoops. So just to put that in action, this is our AutogenAI version of AutogenAI. And if I go down here, you can see that above the library, we've got this answer bank functionality. So you can see here, these are the kinds of questions that you can include in your answer bank. You know, who owns the more intelligent model that has learned from our experience? We have a standard response to that based on our company knowledge. When was the company registered? What are your compliance accreditations? So all of these questions that you have standard responses for that you're generally going to use whenever you're answering a bid, specifically in the qualification phase of the response, you can start to build out your database of answer bank here. So the obvious question becomes, we're getting some Q&A questions. That's beautiful. The obvious question becomes, also, Bonnie, if there are any Q&A questions that are particularly relevant, feel free to shout out. Otherwise, we can leave them to the end. The answer bank is going to work in conjunction with your Q&A workbooks. So if I go here, you'll see this has also been activated whenever you've logged into your answer bank. Your Q&A workbooks are going to work in your drafts, also in your projects as well. So just to run through how that looks for those who haven't seen this before, if I click on plus workbook, add a workbook, you'll see it'll take me to this page here, which essentially says this workbook is currently empty. These workbooks will serve as the questionnaires that you get from the RFT or the RFX that you've received. So my job now would be to give the system what these questions are to work out if we have that information in our answer bank. So to demonstrate how you can do this, you can actually import these questions directly in an Excel format. So if I go here and I import these demo questions that I've got, you can see it's successfully read that file. And now these might represent those questions that you receive from the RFT, the RFX in that qualifications phase. So at this point, we haven't actually used the tool. We've just uploaded some questions, but this is where the magic happens. This button here, the autofill answers, is going to be your best friend at automating these responses. So what it's currently doing is it's matching against our answer bank to determine whether or not we've previously answered this question. And it's doing this by using these large language models to understand similarity between questions. So you can see here, this first question, where is your data hosted? That's quite a common question that we get. And you can see here, we've given, the system has given us back this answer, and it's told us that this is pretty much an exact match of something that we currently have in our answer bank. If I click on actions, I can actually see where that matching is happening. So if I check sources, beautiful. We actually already have a question in our answer bank, which is our company knowledge, our standard words, that talks about data hosting. So from there, I can go to the answer bank and find that question just to verify that it's the correct information. But this is actually this is verbatim what we have in the answer bank. Likewise, for this second question here, so we have an exact match, so we can be pretty confident that we have a response that fits this question, what training and support is required. But if we continue down, what are our core values? Well, that's not actually something we have directly inputted into our answer bank. We don't have a question answer pair in our answer bank that answers what are our core values. But what the system actually does is it formulates its own response based upon whatever you currently have in your document library. So this response, if you're familiar with the platform, you can think about this as analogous to a research assistant output. Essentially, I'm asking the research assistant, using my library, what are our core values? And this is the response that it's given back. Where is it bringing that information from? Well, once again, similar to the research, you can actually check those sources, and it looks like it's coming from all of these dot points, all of these points there, all those files. Beautiful. And the reason we used Library AI as well is because, once again, we didn't find a suitable match in the answer bank. There's also this middle ground where the system thinks that the question that you're asking is the same as what we have in the answer bank. It's a near match. So we use the response from the answer bank, but maybe we'll need to edit that response somewhat, or maybe it's actually picked up the wrong response, or maybe it's a different region, or we just need to double check to make sure that this question actually answers the same question that we gave it. So here, the workbook question that we've asked it is, what are your security credentials? But here it's saying, it's picked up, what are your compliance accreditations? So in this case, we might think, well, this is probably not as relevant, so we can edit our response as needed here, and so on and so forth. So once we're happy with a particular response, we can check this approved box, which then allows us to we can download this workbook, copy it across into our RFT template, and we're essentially done the qualification part of the writing. So what this is trying to avoid is those instances where you're looking through past responses that you've done. I know I've done this before, looking through past responses to try and find standard words to particular questions. The idea is that the answer bank will be your source of truth for those type of questions. Beautiful, great. Hopefully that clarifies the answer bank. But as I said, we've got more features coming in the answer bank as well. We're building out CVs and bio databases, multiple answer banks. We've got this tagging as well, which will then feed into your responses. So there's a lot of cool additions that are coming to the answer bank as well. So look forward to that. Excellent. Before I move on to this, is there anything else? Is there anything from your end, Bonnie? Any other questions, or are we all good to? Yep, beautiful. I can see you shaking your head. Easy. So this just kind of fits into a bit more of a broader philosophy around how we're thinking about knowledge at AutogenAI. So this is not a new feature. This is not a new release, but it does fit into the discussions that we were having around the answer bank. Essentially, a lot of the feedback that we're getting is that there are certain parts of your business or certain pieces of knowledge that are really, really vital and that are really true, really accurate, really useful. And then there are certain other parts of your, library, for example, or the internet, which are not as relevant. They might be slightly outdated. They might be for a different entity or whatever it might be. So one of the things that, as we kind of begin talking about the next phase of AutogenAI that we're thinking about is this knowledge pyramid. So you can see at the bottom, we've got the internet. So this is your externally sourced content. It might come from your website, but it also might come from some random website that isn't even affiliated with you. It's not a vetted source. It's not necessarily reliable. And so it does have useful content, but we really want to prioritize our own library content before that as well, if assuming we have that content in our library. From there, moving up, we have really high quality content in our library. We have our previous high quality bids. It's vetted. It's been specifically uploaded to the platform. But there might be, as I said, some things in there that are outdated. And so what this answer bank and these other gold source databases are trying to achieve and will eventually cover is having these, excuse me, having these specific questions and specific answers that we know are our gold source responses. We always answer this question in this particular way. It's boilerplate. It's our best in class responses. And so the answer bank is kind of our first foray, or one of our first forays into this this knowledge pyramid, where we're choosing these particular pieces of information according to this hierarchy. As well, I know it's the buzzword of the year, but this is where the agentic AI is going to come in a lot to play, to work out and kind of prioritize information based on this knowledge pyramid. So there's very, very exciting things coming in the platform that relate to the knowledge pyramid as well. Okay, that's enough of the recent releases. Now we're going to start having some fun and talking about what's coming up. So this is our proposed, or our roadmap for the next couple of quarters. And you can see there's quite a number of things in here. I'm not going to go through everything. This content you can find on our website. We've got our roadmap on our website. But just to highlight some of the important things that we're going to be touching on. So these third-party sources, so that you can integrate much more easily with the rest of your business environment. Dashboards is a huge one that's coming. So being able to see usage statistics, which parts of the platform you're getting the most value out of, etc. What else have we got? The claim checker over here is going to be essentially a super powered search functionality that goes back to cite a particular claim that you've made over the course of your bid, right? And that is obviously going to feed into your strategic scoring as well. Globalization, we're removing the Zs in Australia and the UK, and keeping those S's there. It's a very fitting word, globalization with an S. And one-click first drive, I'll touch on that in a second. Obviously, the capture, qualification, and probability of win as well is something that we're looking to do in the kind of second quarter of this year, and the customized workflows as well. So we might dive a bit deeper into some of these. So one of the most immediate updates that we have is this Research Assistant 2.0. So it's getting a bit of a facelift, the Research Assistant. We're also going to be bringing in a variety of sources that you can use, and also the ability to recall what questions you've asked in sessions, and ask follow-up questions as well. So you can see here we still have the variables that we know and love, phases company in this case. But very soon you'll be able to select not only the web search the internet AI and the library AI, but also the answer bank as well. As I said, the answer bank contains our gold source responses, so it makes sense for that to feed into the Research Assistant as well, which is what we're going to be doing as part of the Research Assistant 2.0. The other thing that I'm very excited about with the Research Assistant 2.0 is actually the ability to configure which websites you're pulling from. So there are if you want to bias against only government websites, for example, gov.au websites, you can do that. If you want to only pull information from your website, you can also do that. If you want to exclude sites from LinkedIn or whatever it might be, you can also do that as well using the web search site specification. So very exciting for this, for the Research Assistant 2.0. Excellent. Okay. The next thing is something I alluded to a little bit before. We're going to continue to build out the project's capabilities in the tool. As you can see on the left-hand side, you'll be able to have a bit of an outline of your response writing. So you'll be able to structure it into folders, and then tag each of those responses against a particular user, and then have things like editing and commenting abilities, and the ability to do a more comprehensive review, the ability to upload, as it's got here, specific sources that are relevant to the RFT or opportunity that you're currently working on, and also this comprehensive compliance matrix as well, which will function as a bit of an extension of the shred functionality. I forgot the word. So that'll allow you to kind of tag specific tasks against specific pieces of compliance, and also strategic storyboarding and whatnot as well. So a lot of new additions to the project space too. Excellent. And then last but not least, in coming soon, a bunch of new updates are coming to the editor as well. So one of the things that we're working towards is this kind of one-click first draft. So giving the system the context that it needs, whether that's from the RFT, from your document library, whatever context it needs, in your storyboard, and then have this magic one-click first draft button that uses that context to give you your first draft, getting you to 60-70% of the way to a completed response, so you can use that time more efficiently to curate that answer. Co-authoring as well, that's something that's coming very soon. So the ability for more than one person to be working on a document at one time. Ask AI, this is our kind of generalist tool that's going to allow you to leverage agentic AI to do similar things to pure completion, to be able to repurpose your text, to ask questions about the text, but in a much more fleshed out way. So that's very exciting. The claim checker I mentioned before, it's giving you a sense of how reliable a particular statistic is. And this formal review, as I said, giving you some more tools in your toolbox to comment, track changes, and support your formal review process. Excellent. So with all of these new features and the new updates that are coming through, please feel free to reach out to your customer success manager to talk about beta testing and design partnerships. These updates are all coming from feedback that we're getting from actual customers like yourselves. So we're super hungry to get your feedback on these new tools. So if you do want to have early access, then we'd love for you to get in touch with us, and we'll make that happen. Excellent. So before we wrap up, I've been seeing there've been a couple of questions pop through in the chat. So please, Bonnie, if there's anything that is catching your eye, what have we got? Any questions from the group?
Yeah, we've got some great questions here. We'll start with, how does AutogenAI support management of graphics?
Great question. So as I said before, you can obviously upload your graphics into the document library. One of the biggest use cases we can see here is using it as a search functionality. So, for example, you might have a particular folder in your document library called previous graphics. So those graphics that you have used on past proposals that you might want to use in subsequent proposals. The great thing about the technology is that you can just upload that one JPEG file or PNG file or similar file, and it'll actually find the information within the document without you having to tag it or anything like that. So if I use, for example, the org chart, which is one we were looking at just before, I didn't need to tell AutoGen that this was an org chart. I mean, it just so happens that it's called orgchart.jpg, but it would also have understood it if it was under a different name as well, because it's actually reading the content from within the document. So if I quickly preview that document, you can actually see here how it's reading the content from the image. So I know that's quite small, but above, so kind of at the top of the content, it's just reading the words. So the words are company organization chart, Daniel Gallego owner. Well, that's great, but it's not as useful unless we can understand semantically what is actually going on in the picture. And the great thing is this is something that you can now do with the technology. So you can see here, this image, so this is generated by the AI. This image is a company organization chart. I will zoom in a little bit more. That visually represents the hierarchical structure of a company. It's not just reading the words, it's also understanding the meaning of the org chart, and it's actually describing in words what's happening and who reports to whom. So from that perspective, I can see some really nice use cases where you just upload your past charts or anything that would be something a piece of collateral that you'll be using over and over again, and then you can just use the search functionality to search for those documents so that you can find them semantically rather than having to trawl through some file structure to find it. Thanks, Bonnie. What else?
Okay. Another one here. Is there something in the pipeline to generate a submission checklist from the RFT so clients know if they've answered and attached everything?
Yeah, exactly right. So that is going to feed into this one-click first draft, also into like your proposal strategy as well. So the storyboarding, the compliance, I haven't seen any designs of having a checklist or something like that, but I'm imagining that's something that we'll be looking to support as well. Yeah, it's a good question, but it's definitely something that we're thinking about. Anything else, Bonnie?
There's nothing else on the chat. Thank you.
Oh, nice, beautiful, fantastic. Well, if there are no other questions, feel free. This is your last chance to ask questions. But hopefully you found this an interesting and productive session. If you did want to chat with any of us, our information is here. You can also just email info@autogenai.com. Any final things, Bonnie, or are we all good to call it?
Yep, everything has been answered. Thanks, Darcy.
Beautiful. Well, we look forward to seeing you all soon. And yeah, thanks for coming along. Appreciate it. Thanks all.